This video is coming to you live from Canada to supplement until I get back with you guys. It's going to walk you guys through this problem-solving canvas. As I've already mentioned, I don't love the canvas, but you will need to fill it out a couple times during this project, and the final test that you need to take in relation to getting credit has a lot of questions about the canvas. Now, you will have notes on the canvas and answers to most of those questions, but you kind of have to be familiar with the canvas to know what to do. Okay, so what is a problem-solving canvas? Honestly, it's used in a lot of like business startups. Like if you've ever heard of like lean manufacturing or lean business model, it's a way to make sure your business is doing what it needs to do to get a product out. The one way I like the canvas in relation to science is it helps you get beyond just like doing the science to actually like applying the science. So that's one way I do like it. So it's going to walk you through the entire innovation process, not only identifying the problems and solutions, but thinking through all the components that are necessary to actually solve a problem. So what is your problem? What is your solution? And then who do I need to talk to? What information do I need to get from them? It'll allow you to really bring your solution into the real versus just keeping it really theoretical. And it'll also force you to consider the monetary components of a solution. So you can't just say like, I'm going to solve forest fires by installing sprinklers, because like that's not practical. Here's a video on a quick overview of the canvas, so you kind of have a sense of what each section is, and then I will walk through each section as well.
An organization's business model can be described with 9 basic building blocks: your customer segments, your value proposition for each segment, the channels to reach customers, customer relationships you establish, the revenue streams you generate, the key resources and key activities you require to create value, the key partners, and the cost structure of the business model. But it's not sufficient to just enumerate the 9 building blocks. What you really want to do is to map them out on a pre-structured canvas. This is what we call the business model canvas, a tool that helps you map, discuss, design, and invent new business models. Let's briefly go through the 9 building blocks, starting with the customer segments. These are all the people or organizations for which you're creating value. This includes simple users and paying customers. For each segment, you have a specific value proposition. These are the bundles of products and services that create value for your customers. The channels describe through which touchpoints you're interacting with customers and delivering value. The customer relationships outline the type of relationship you're establishing with your customers. The revenue streams make clear how and through which pricing mechanisms your business model is capturing value. Then you need to describe the infrastructure to create, deliver, and capture value. The key resources show which assets are indispensable in your business model. The key activities show which things you really need to be able to perform well. The key partners show who can help you leverage your business model, since you won't own all key resources yourself, nor will you perform all key activities. Then once you understand your business model's infrastructure, you'll also have an idea of its cost structure. So with the business model canvas, you can map out your entire business model in one image. This works for startup entrepreneurs just as well as for the most senior executives.
So as you hear with that, it's very businessy, but we can use it to solve a simple problem as well. And if we were trying to utilize a new scientific discovery, it could also be used. Okay, so step 1 of your canvas is to determine what your problem is, right? What problem are we trying to solve? And that'll go up on the problem statement. After that, you create a value proposition, and this is probably the hardest one for people to understand. The value proposition is really just your solution. So if my problem is I never know what I'm going to make for dinner on any given night, potentially my solution would be a menu generating app that allows me to like fill in information on Sunday and have it for the week. So that would be my solution. My solution is my menu generating app. Okay, but then it's also that question of value. What value am I gaining by creating the solution? right? How does my solution solve the problem better than other solutions? And then evidence to support that. So oftentimes this is being developed as you go. Like right now, I could just throw out there like, well, a menu generating app is a great solution because it'll have like ability to personalize or customize for your user. It'll also allow for a lot of convenience, less waste since you'll be buying only what you need, things like that. But then the evidence would be I could go talk to people or prototype my solution and actually see how it goes. The other pieces on there, so there's the customer segment. In order to determine who your customer segment is, you want to think about who will be benefiting from my solution primarily. So with my app that allows people to plan their menus and generate kind of like a list for grocery shopping and stuff, that'll be anyone who, is short on time, families, people who work, things like that. Channel is how you tell people about your solution. So this is one that science often has a hard time with because it's like they generate a solution and they know who they want to use their solution, but then how do you tell people about it, right? So for mine, I might want to be using TikTok or lots of social media people who are like, hey, I was a frazzled mom and now I have this cool thing I'm using. So the channels are how, right? Magazine articles, newspaper articles, things like that. And again, scientists do a really good job developing ideas and thinking of who will benefit from them, but they don't always do a great job getting it out there. So I'm going to publish in my in a science journal. Fantastic. But you need more than that. That customer discovery piece, the evidence piece, is huge. Okay? You'll spend a lot of time throughout this project mostly on this. So if I've said, hey, this app is definitely one that's going to solve the problem, what evidence do I have that, number one, that it is a problem, right? I threw it off the top of my head today. I'd have to go talk to people to find out if they have a problem, maybe what solutions they've tried, suggest my solution, see what people think about it, what kind of customizations would they want. So there's a lot of things in here. And how you gather evidence, step one, it's all through empathy and conversation. Step two eventually could be through surveys and things like that. But usually we gather our evidence at first just through conversation. That's all on the right-hand side, kind of developing your idea and how to implement. On the left-hand side, then, is the detailed steps, in my opinion. So what are my next steps moving forward for my solution? My key activities are going to change over time as my my solution evolves. So right now, my key activities would simply be doing a lot of my customer discovery and gathering evidence and data to figure out like what's good and what's not good. Eventually, my key activity would be actually developing an app. Right? Trying to figure out what menu items to put on there, how I would determine the menu items. Would that be something I preload? Would people have to put them in? Key partners then. Who's going to help me? These are not my customers. These are people on the back end that are going to help me. So maybe someone who's already developed an app like this, maybe store owners who can tell me like what their most commonly purchased items are. Maybe I can find out online what recipes most people search up. So people who can give me information that could better help me fine-tune my product. And then my key resources would be what do I need in order to implement my activities and access my partners. So most often time, money, materials, but we're going to try to be more specific than just time, money, materials, right? For me specifically, I'm going to need probably data gathering apps to get information from people. I'm going to need some kind of software developer. I'm going to need more information. So again, you can hear right now, I'm at the start of my problem solving method. It's going to be very kind of random and abstract, but it'll get me more specific over time. The bottom then allows you not just to think of this theoretically with, money not being an issue. You have to take a second and actually consider, like, is my problem and my solution viable? Again, we've had someone in previous years say, like, well, forest fires is a problem. Like, California has had huge forest fires, which is totally true. But then their solution was to install, like, sprinklers in the forests. Like, obviously the cost structure of that is insane. Who's going to pay for this? How are they going to be maintained? Is there a better solution that could potentially be more economical? Right? So the cost structure would be what is it going to cost to implement your solution? And then the revenue stream would be how are you going to pay for it? So for me, my cost structure would be obviously I'm going to need to put money into development of my app, and that's going to cost money. But in the end, maybe it would be an app that you have to pay to download or some kind of service fee to continue to use it. So it could be self-supporting. The intro money would be the problem. So this is often where people get stuck for something like the parking lot problem, because if they're like, we're going to build a parking ramp or whatever, cost structure wise, you need a lot of money to pay for that parking ramp. And who's going to pay for it? So they'll be like, oh, we'll charge students more money to pay there. Really? Are students going to pay more money to be there? Right? This can be theoretical, but it also needs to be practical. And once you run into an issue of like, no, this is not possible, you need to reevaluate and pivot, go a different direction. So same thing when people are like, we should provide better food in the cafeteria. Fantastic. You know, it costs money to get that food. And they're like, oh, we'll just charge students more. Okay, well, how much would they be willing to pay? Right? So these are important questions that you're actually going to not just generate the questions. Your goal is to try to generate answers. So there's a brief run through of the Canvas. You're going to answer some questions about the Canvas now and also run through like a mock Canvas for yourself, kind of thinking through different things that can be filled in. That's it for the video. Have a nice night.